So let's get started. Welcome to Pantheon Rise of the Fallen Community Q&A. I am Jamie Savanya Henry, and we have with us creative director Chris Joppa Perkins to answer your questions. These questions were gathered ahead of time from the community on Discord and the official forums. Oh, Draq, I love you. We recently announced that Pantheon is going to early access in December of this year, which is very exciting for us, very exciting for you, very exciting period. Joppa, could you tell us a little bit about what led us to early access and how the team is doing?
Yeah, I mean, what led us to early access is just the desire to get what we have out into people's hands to play it. We've been at this a really long time. I mean, uh, we've been at it a really long time, and that's
What?
I know, I know, I know. But you've got I just a game that I didn't know that I wanted to play called 7 Days to Die. Um, I just found out has been in development for I think 12 years, something like that. Um, Still got a lot of jankiness to it, but man, it looks like a great game. And I mean, the reality is, games take a lot of time to make, and MMOs especially, and us, we've taken some time. Um, we believe, especially with what we are getting done between now and EA, that it's it's time. It's time to get the game out there. Let it stand on its own. We are not, it's not the finish line for us by any means. We still have a lot of game to make, but this is a chance to kind of, based on how seasons has gone and getting a lot more people the into the game and playing and seeing how people are taking to it. It's just kind of encouraged us and emboldened us to make that next step to go ahead and say, okay, let's move into this new era, and um, I think it's going to be good. I really do.
This was a good year for us. As far as progress goes and getting players in and playtime and all of that, it's been pretty amazing. I'm
Yeah,
impressed.
yeah. It's something that's easy to overlook, but the fact that we've essentially had the servers on, I mean, the game has been on and going nonstop, for how long now? A long time. Um,
Yep, we got players in game every day.
so it's easy to overlook that, but if you think about how long we went, where it was just once a month, and then before that it was like once every who knows when, like just whenever we say, hey, by the way, you're going to come in for 24 hours, but to have been in constant, steady uptime for as long as we have, that's a really big deal. And it's just one of the ingredients that we look at and we say, okay, I think it's time. And no, I did not dye my hair. I don't dye my hair, and I can't color my facial hair at this point either because everyone already knows it's gray. So if I come on, if I get on camera one day and it's colored,
Yeah,
it's
that's
done.
like
It's gone.
that's like actors who are going very clearly bald and then all of a sudden they show up with hair. Everybody
Yeah,
knows.
yeah. No bueno.
All right, so let's start off with what classes what classes are going to be at the start of early access.
Let's see if I can do it in alphabetical order. I'm probably gonna fail. Um, Cleric, Dire Lord, Enchanter. Um, mhm. um, I'm I'm flubbing this by trying to do it in alphabetical order instead of just reading off the list. My goodness, but it's okay.
That was a good try. That was
It's
heroic.
okay. I made it three in. And then we got Monk. Um, we've got now I'm all discombobulated.
Just start over.
Yeah. Okay. Warrior, wizard, shaman, summoner, monk, ranger, rogue, cleric, dire lord, enchanter. and Necromancer.
Yes, that's an excellent list. Okay,
That's the list. And Paladin. And
Paladin.
Paladins.
Oh no. Oh, you
12
hate.
out of the 14.
Yeah. Yep.
Goodness.
Somebody almost started crying there. Okay, so Necromancer was previously a stretch class expected after launch, but it has been moved up and will be coming for early access. On the flip side of that, the Bard and the Druid will not be available at the beginning of early access. Why was this done, and what's the expectation in seeing the Bard and the Druid in maybe the next 6 months?
Well, yeah, the reason we did it is because, and I'm going to say a very similar thing when it comes to why we chose the races we did, like why not the gnome, for example. These decisions are made purely based on like time and effort and resource and just all that whole consideration, um, and our time frame of what our goal is. So when you put together our goal for December, when you put together that with our resource, these are the things we are confident we can move on the quickest. Uh, and I've mentioned before that the druid, there's a lot of piggybacking that our classes can do when it comes to functionality that other classes have, just maybe in a different kind of flavor or way. The necromancer benefits heavily by piggybacking on functionality that we've made for other classes along the way, such that we can get a pretty fully realized necromancer class out the door relatively easily compared to the druid and the bard, which still require a good amount of new systems and mechanics to support. So um, that's really the bottom line reason. And then uh, I mean, I feel if we're talking like a 6 month time frame, like after EA launches, I feel pretty darn confident that in a 6 month period we can find time among the other things that we're doing to move those classes forward. The only one that would still feel like a maybe to me is the bard, because there's just some really special things we want to try and do with that class. It's very much going to be one of those it'll be worth it when it finally gets here kind of a thing. But my hope with bard 2 is that it can be more iterative instead of just a waiting until it's just boom, it's all right there. So we'll see. But 6 months, I feel pretty good about that.
That's good. That's good to know. I didn't want to lock you into like a tight timeline, but yeah, that's pretty cool. And I feel like Bard is very quickly becoming like the class of Pantheon, like the iconic class of Pantheon.
Yeah, it's an important class. It's not done very much anymore, and it's got a very rich history. It means a lot to a lot of people, except for Bronson. Bronson hates bards. I found that out for the first time the other day. I
How can you
actually,
hate bards?
yeah, I don't know if I want to get into it. I managed to throw together a quick little computer build here that I'm, coming to you guys on. The other one I threw out my window when I heard what he was saying, and I had to go out in the yard and get it and throw it again because he kept talking about it, and so it was thrown multiple times. But yeah, I just
Oh,
found that out.
Bronson. Bronson. Oh no.
Yep.
You've been outed, dude.
Yep.
All right. So what are the class kits going to look like for early access? Will the classes have abilities beyond level 20?
Sorry, it's just such a Bronson thing to say. I don't lie to myself. That's his response, and that's the right answer.
Yep. There you go.
I don't lie to myself. I'm gonna say, you know what? Next time I'm in a situation where I say something controversial, no matter how like inflammatory it may be, I'm just gonna say that. Hey, listen, I don't lie to myself. I feel like that would
I
go
mean,
over really well.
it
I
sounds
think, yeah,
noble, but I'm not sure it actually means anything. So yeah,
yeah,
that's good. Sure.
yeah. It's I like it. So the plan is to have each of the available classes that I just mentioned, um, basically fleshed out up to level 40 for the start of EA. So and you can expect progress on the class kits to be trickling in, all the way up to that point.
I'm actually surprised. I was thinking that we were going level 30, but level 40. Dang.
Yeah.
That's very cool, guys.
Yeah. I don't honestly, I don't know which one is becoming more like Pantheon Central. Is it Bard or is it the Warrior Banners? I feel like by the time we get there, Warrior Banners are going to be their own class. Like they could honestly be their own class. What are you playing in Pantheon? I'm playing a Warrior Banner. That's how significant the banners are becoming.
Steeds wants to know if Masteries are going to be in.
A Banner Lord. That's actually a
That
that'd be
sounds like
really
that
cool.
sounds like its own thing. Yeah. Masteries.
When or what going to be in Masteries? Oh, Masteries will definitely be a post EA thing.
Post the launch of EA. Post.
Post EA launch.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. All right.
They will come in sometime during the EA period.
Excellent. Okay. What's the level cap going to be starting out with EA?
40.
Sweet. Okay. And we talked about it a second ago. Race class matrix, that's going to apply for early access.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. Which races will be available for early access at the start of early access?
The 6 races are going to be human, halfling, elf, um, dwarf, ogre, darkmer.
That's a nice group. That's a nice group there. And are there going to be character customizations available with the races?
Yes. Yeah, at
Some,
minimum,
all?
yes. Yeah. And at minimum the plan is for them to have their own selection of skin colors that are unique to the races, um, hairstyle, hairstyles, facial hairstyles, and colors for the two that are, unique to and appropriate for those races. So it's not going to be the full customization that we want to have, but that's what we're planning to have at the start of EA.
So the Dark Mirror made the cut for the start of VA, which, given how complex that character looks, if you guys haven't caught it, Bronson was working on it in his live streams and it's looking good. So with that, is there going to be water and underwater content available at the start of VA?
Okay, so the goal is to have swimming, at least surface swimming, by the start of EA. Um, Underwater content will almost certainly be an after the start of EA thing, but the goal is to at least have surface swimming, if not like full swimming, even though there may not be anything under the water, to do. But the goal would be at least to have surface swimming in by the start of EA, and then that will continue to be fleshed out. Especially, I've talked about this on stream a few times, but once we land, one of our big goals immediately after launching EA is to look at when and how we want to uh, upgrade to the newest Unity 6, because there's a lot of aspects of their water system in Unity 6 that we need and want to take advantage of. So that will also factor into how we handle swimming and things like water and things like that.
Awesome. And just for a note, when I'm asking these questions, most of these questions are going to apply to the start of VA. This is more about what we're going to have at the very beginning and not so much about what is going to be coming later.
Mhm.
At the start of EA, though, will there be racial abilities and passives included?
The only thing that we are kind of trying to lock in for EA at the start of EA are um, races are going to have their own unique starting stats and then racial vision. So the races that are meant to have improved like night vision or low light vision, having that in place. Beyond that, racial passive traits and racial abilities that will come later.
Oh, the night vision's going to be great. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
okay. So the gnome is not coming. Originally, we thought that we were going to have the gnome a little bit earlier than how that worked out, but the gnome is not going to be available at the start of EA. Can you tell us a little bit why that is and when we can expect the gnome?
Yeah, like I said, ultimately it was a decision made on just time and resources. So the gnome is going to be one of the more complex, one of the more sophisticated models that we make, both in terms of the how we're solving like armor in relation to their specific aesthetic, but also like some of the special shaders that we're going to be using to represent their essence, their life energy, and kind of how they work with their wraps and things like that. So they're just a little bit more of a complicated model. That's what we put our sights on originally because they're the smallest, and so we're like, well, let's just make the biggest and the smallest with the ogre and the gnome. But um, the time that it would have taken us to make the gnome in comparison to how quickly we've been able to really jump into and move through several of the different races to get them in, we ultimately made that decision to let's opt for getting more of them in more quickly, and then we can circle back and do some of the ones that are going to take a little more time.
Uh, this is my own question. Are gnome bards going to be a thing?
Nope,
Darn,
at
that would have
least
been
not
amazing.
not as a baseline.
Okay, that's a bummer. Will all the races be starting in Throne Fast, or will they have different starting areas?
The plan right now is that humans and dwarves will start in Thronefast, elves and halflings will start in Sorhirith, which is Wild's End, the halfling city, and then Dark, Myr, and ogres will begin in an outpost area that is neutral or friendly towards more evil aligned races or characters.
Nice. So then is reputation going to be a factor starting in EA?
Yeah, I mean it already is now, but we'll be incorporating it into more content um, in the months leading up to EA, and then we'll continue to develop it out as we move through EA on the way to launch.
So one of the bigger questions a lot of people wanted to know is how are wipes going to be handled in early access?
Well, it's not so early access is not a soft launch for us. So Pantheon will still very much be in active development at the start of and during EA. So wipes should still be expected. As far as the frequency of them, or if we'll be doing them on a set schedule, that's still TBD. But there definitely will still be wipes as part of the early access period. Yeah.
We've sort of gotten into a habit on doing wipes. We do wipes less often than we started out doing, um, very much on an as needed basis, right?
hmm Yeah, and I think that'll be how we will handle things during EA. I mean, if we do have a set, I mean, obviously we'll wipe before the actual launch of the game, and whether or not we'll wipe on any kind of like a every 6 months or every 12 months or it depends on how long EA lasts, which is something we don't quite have a handle on just yet, like how long that time period is going to be. Um, so it may be more like every 3 months. It could be every, we don't know. I mean, it's all conjecture right now because the goal is not to go into it saying we are definitely going to wipe on, this day and at this time that's not the goal. The goal is for wipes to be more utilitarian. Uh, and making sure that when it's most beneficial for the outcome of testing or the kind of things we need from the community, and that's a lot of how the communication needs to be as well. I mean, ever since we announced EA, and when any project announces EA, there's always questions about, well, what does that mean? Because you can't just say EA means this one thing. You can't, because it has meant different things for different projects at different times. And there's it's anyone's prerogative, any project's prerogative to define what EA means for them, as long as they are clear with their community and make it clear what their intentions are. Um, so again, for us, it's not a soft launch. It's not like us saying, okay, we made it, the game's ready. This is an invitation to the broader community and public to be a part of the development of the game. And it's modeled, somewhat around other projects that have done a similar thing, where they invited the public at large, to come in and be a part of the ongoing development of a project until it was finished. And that's what it is for us. That's how we're approaching it. That's how we're communicating it, and this is what it is. That may mean something different for other projects, and that will be defined by those projects. But it doesn't mean that it's a glove that should fit everybody or does fit everybody in the same way.
No, and that's the same thing that we experienced with the term seasons. That means a lot of different things depending on the game, and what it meant for us was something a little bit different, but it worked out well for us, so we'll just make up our own words. But yeah,
I mean, I will say, I think it's a relatively standard meaning of early access. I mean, it's definitely not a fringe interpretation. Um, but yeah, it doesn't hurt to continue to kind of reiterate and reconfirm what we mean by it.
absolutely. And on the lines of wipes, we've also explored alternatives to wipes. A wipe is not always the answer. There are other things that we can do in place of that. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's the opportunity to have at some point, servers that are dedicated to fresh start servers, while you know other the characters that are players that don't want to do that can remain on the server they're on perpetuity. Um, the goal obviously would be to address major bugs, anything like dupes or game breaking issues. We would try to fix those things ASAP, so that the integrity of whatever server and uh, the community there would be protected from kind of reaching some point of no return. Um, but yeah, the goal would certainly be over time, especially to introduce some potential alternatives to just a wipe across the board for everyone, unless we do that for specific reasons.
Will there be a wipe directly before early access?
Mm-hmm.
And I think, are planning a staggered start. Are we doing that based on pledge levels, or are all the pledges just getting in together before the general public?
I don't know. That's not a that's not a me decision. I have feelings, but it's not ultimately my call, and I don't know that we've landed on a firm
TBD,
answer on that
guys,
just yet. Yeah.
TBD. Okay. Spoff, I'm going to get to that stuff. What is the content cadence planned? Like, we've kind of fallen into a nice groove with seasons, but without that in early access, what is our cadence going to look like for content?
So once EA begins, once the dust has time to settle, the goal is to eventually transition back to something a similar kind of content cadence as we have now with seasons, where will it look exactly like the current season's format, same time frame, etc.? I don't know that it'll be exactly the same, but the goal is to get back into a very similar cadence. I wouldn't go into the start of EA expecting that to happen immediately. Like EA hits and then boom, 6 weeks after that, like brand new update. That there might be some time that we need to take while we, just get everything ratchet it down and our feet back under us and make sure that everything is in order, and then but that's the goal,
Right.
is to move back
Because
into
early
it.
access is a big push for us.
Mhm.
Yeah, we're going to be busy, busy, busy. All right. Somebody mentioned server hopping. No, that's not going to be in for EA. You will be locked to your server.
Yep.
Okay, so how will urgent hot fixes be handled? Will critical bugs be patched quickly, or are we going to be waiting on larger updates? Is it going to depend on the bug? How are we doing that?
Critical game breaking bugs will be patched ASAP.
Okay. Are we going to see any updates to animation and visual effects?
Hmm. Yeah. Yes. Updates to both, improvements to both will be ongoing as part of the critical path leading up to EA. Yeah. It's a big part of the polish goal.
Thronefest and AVP, we already got those in game. Are they going to see any updates before EA?
Um, there likely, yes, regarding quests, perception content, some itemization changes, but nothing beyond that, most likely.
Guild functions. Are we going to get any?
It's a goal. It's something I'm pushing very hard for us to make room for in the schedule. It's critically important. Uh, I think the rest of the team understands that pretty well. So it's it's just, I mean, it's one of those things where even if it means needing to descope something else of a similar category, I don't think it will come to that. But it's yeah, I think guild functionality is, I don't I don't really feel like you've got an MMO without that. So yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely one I'd love to see make it in. Um, Somebody asked about the EA price point. We are not prepared to comment on the price point for early access currently, so we're going to save that for later. Sorry, guys. Are we going to be seeing adjustments to the experience gain?
These guys, they're
You guys,
oh my goodness.
none of you are going to be able to guess. Just stop.
Um da, 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 da. The experience, is that what you're talking about? Experience?
Experience gain, yes.
Okay.
Adjustments.
Yes, those adjustments actually have already happened in a pretty major way. In fact, I was just talking about on stream today that yesterday we got our new experience system in. Um, it was just implemented yesterday. There, there's tweaking as with any new implementation. There's some tweaks to be done, but there'll be something you guys will be able to give a lot of feedback on once it starts. If they're asking about like pace of leveling, things like that, um, we'll be dialing that in a little bit over the months leading up to EA. The goal would be to hit a nice point, by EA, so we don't really have to tamper with that very much. So yeah, that'll be something that we start asking for some feedback on here starting next season.
Guys, the monetization thing, that's still very much in discussion. The only thing I can say about that is we are looking at industry standards, and it's not going to be anything wild. We're not
Mhm.
going to go nuts. All right, death penalty. When?
Now it's back. Death penalty will be back in
Yay!
game with the start of the next season. So hold on to your butts.
We don't have an answer for our own launcher versus Steam or any of that. That is also TBD. As soon as I have information on that, we will definitely share it though, because we know that you guys want that information. You mentioned that there's going to be some work on the perception system. Is that getting a lot of work, a little work? We're going to see a lot
Yeah.
more of that in game.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, specifically the return of NPC storyline dialogues, the ability to accrue flags based on your actions, your conversations, NPC to player and NPC to NPC kind of special interactions. That's a big part of what we're working to get back in the mix, and then that on top of the pings and the triggers and the things we've got going on right now. So that's like top of Rob's list at the moment for things he's focused on. Speaking of,
Ooh,
there's the man
Rob.
himself.
Hi, Rob. I didn't realize that guy worked. Don't,
Just a little bit.
I'm so sorry. Rob, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Please continue talking to me. When he gets tired of my crap, he just stops talking to me. All right, fractures. Are we going to see more of those?
Probably no new fractures by EA, but the goal is to get Gloom more fully realized. Probably make some visual tweaks to it, incorporate its like effects, like the negative effects it has on players, the positive effects it has on undead. Incorporate the artifacts that can be found, and then incorporate some areas where there's like right now it's only in like some overland small camp applications. We want to see Gloom in places that it's more fully like a place that you really want to go and dig into, but you really need, that artifact to do it safely, kind of a thing. So, yeah, expect Gloom to be more fully realized as a fracture.
The one monetization thing that I can share is that pledges are not going to have a subscription fee. They will not be required to have a subscription fee for early access. So pledges will not have to worry about that. We do have some other plans there, but we'll wait until that's fully baked before we start talking about it. Mm. Do you guys have any more questions about EA before we move on to something else? No. Vin Vindini. No, we have no information on that yet. All right. So I'm just because I love you guys so much, I'm just going to drop the little bit of information that if you are asking about the buddy codes, maybe keep an eye out tomorrow to see what might be coming there,
I wish I
because
could do my little soundboard while we're talking because there's so many good sounds to play after some of these statements. Like the Zelda sound right then would have been absolutely perfect. I was like, just
we need you know what? You better have a soundboard prepped for next time because we think we need sound effects. But yes.
I need like maybe Redbeard's help to know how to pipe it in through Discord because I don't.
Oh yeah. You know how
I
to
don't
do
know.
that, Redbeard? Because that would be rad. Sound effects just make everything funner. But yes, look for information about the buddy codes tomorrow.
It's easy. It's easy, Eldrick. Is it easy using a Steam Deck through voice mod? Is it easy to do that? I'm sure there is like a really quick, easy integration for it. I mean, I haven't spent a whole lot of time looking at it, so it's fair that it might be.
Yeah, I would say, do you have time for that, Choppa?
I mean, no, but yes, I can. That's why I'm sleepy because it's making time for things that.
Who needs sleep?
Yeah.
Can you tell us if anything of the scope has the scope of the launch changed at all thus far?
The launch meaning like the full game launch?
The full game launch, has our scope changed with that?
No, not really. Not since the last, I guess, whatever the most recent times, even though it's been a while since we've talked about it. No.
Okay. So that's most of what we have for early access. A lot of the early access questions that were left off, we just don't have the answer for, and we'll update that as we get it. But we do have a new season coming next week. And can you talk a little bit about that, Joppa? What are we going to be seeing?
Beefler, we don't have a date for the full launch yet. I think, and if you're wondering why people are laughing at your statement, it's because it can be a meme around here a little bit, like when Pantheon's launch date is going to be, because we've been working on this game for a while. So, but you guys got to get ready, because as the community grows, there's going to be people that haven't been along for the ride from the very beginning. So
That's
questions like that
true.
may not always
Yeah.
be tongue in cheek. But
The
yeah,
VIPers.
we don't have an actual release date for it yet, other than the EA launch in December. It's kind of the next big milestone date. Next season, probably that the very top of the list is Halnir Cave. It's just super excited for you guys to get back in there. It's a massive dungeon, lots of secrets, lots of good stuff in there. Still some places and parts of it that I don't think have been discovered yet, even though it's been pretty heavily explored by some. But it's a really big milestone for us to get, kind of one of our big dedicated dungeon areas in. And it's gonna be tough. I mean, the challenge is gonna be high. Not only just the challenge of the content itself and different encounters in there, but it is a dedicated dungeon area, which means that there's no leashing, NPC leashing. So this is like, train to zone central kind of stuff. So alongside that, we've got a lot of the combat improvements that we've been working on. So bringing the technique system fully online, where classes are actually finally able to meaningfully synergize with one another, and it actually be an important part of combat. The strategy behind that. We've got lots of balancing adjustments that we've made, some changes to itemization to bring us closer to, kind of the feel that we want for what progression and itemization through progression should feel like in Pantheon. Again, taking a lot of cues from classic EQ and ascribing a little bit more to a sense of scarcity and it being significant when upgrades and things like that are found. We've got the new experience system coming in. We've got the first wipe we've had in a while. So it's a big time. It's a big time to be in and playing. Lots of really meaty stuff to dig into. So yeah,
Everybody will be starting fresh.
we've
That's
got some
very
pretty big
exciting.
some pretty big gathering changes and some crafting changes coming into that. I think Neff, I know, is going to be coming through in the patch notes. I think he's made a couple of posts about it on the Discord, but definitely keep an eye out for some of Neff's news.
Salvaging.
Salvaging. There you go.
Yes. Yes, I was looking through those
There you go.
patch notes, Neff. Oh my goodness. That's going to be fun. Rob
Oh
says we
yeah, the
got
audio
some.
work that they've done in
Yeah,
Halnir. Whew.
I'm
Kidding me?
excited for that.
It's good stuff.
Yeah.
It's really good stuff. The little bit that I've been streaming in Halnir, these last couple of weeks, you guys have heard some of it, but we just did a big, huge, major merge between all of their branch, all the audio stuff they've been doing, and like the main branch. And so you've not heard anything yet of like all the work they've been doing for the last couple of weeks. And PBL, like they they move fast, like they get a lot done quickly. So there's a lot of really good stuff in there for you guys to check out.
Yeah, if you guys are looking for beans, Jabba cannot contain himself, so catch his stream on Twitch. Somebody throw the link in there, would you? Because he's all about the beans, TBH.
Oh yeah, beans everywhere.
Yeah.
Beans. What do you even call them? I mean, are they beans anymore? Or are they just like, I
No,
don't know. They're
you're,
just
you're the whole freaking chili, sir.
it's just a chili. It's just a bowl of chili. Bean meatless chili.
Sure, sure.
Yep.
What's going to be the max level for the next season?
Same as this past season, 35.
Okay. Are we going to see additional abilities on some of the classes past level 20?
Yes, not Well, probably not for this next season. There may be some that trickle in, so don't write it off completely, because what we're going to be working on this season, like what as this season launches, what we're working on for next season, obviously, is the Necromancer, um, which at this point I think that's not news to anybody, but if it is, sorry if it's whatever. But Necromancer the following season, but along with that is a lot of other class oriented work that we're going to be doing for that season as we kind of move towards the A launch. So that's, yeah, don't expect a whole lot of like class changes. I mean, there'll be some, like the Wizards had some nice work done, and there's a couple of other tweaks that we've made to like some of the rogue abilities, some of the ranger abilities, just a few little tweaks here and there. Um, but expect warrior and paladin to both, and cleric to both, have some pretty sizable updates over the course of this next season. Somebody said they want to talk about chevrons. Isn't what do you think about chevrons, Staff?
They're pretty. What?
Enough said.
I like chevrons. I don't.
Enough said. I think the person most excited about chevrons is 187. I would not be surprised if we see 187 show up to the next Pantheon event in a chevron themed outfit, or maybe even dressed as a chevron.
Yes, please. I would be down for that. Let's see it. Bacon. Yes, we did a housing survey. So my feeling there is that that is on the back burner. Have you heard anything about that, Joppa?
About what?
Housing. That's not
Oh,
slated for the start of EA, so that's
not the start of EA. We've got the we've got the surveys. We've got a lot. I've gotten a lot of like input on stream when the topics come up a few times. I mean, I think we've got a good sense, at least for now, of like a lot of the community's sentiment towards it and ideas about it. But yeah, it's something that it's just something that's a down the line thing that we do want to incorporate into the game. But there's nothing new or like imminent. There's that word.
imminent.
There's that word.
I thought we banned that word.
It's such a good word.
It really is.
Don't
Yeah.
ban it.
But I mean, we've got a lot of good ideas for housing, and the survey that we got back added a lot to that. So it's definitely down the road, but not right now.
Yeah, there you go. That's a nice bean right there, Rob. I didn't even go that far with it. But yeah.
What? What? Now Rob's dropping the beans? I feel like everybody's gone rogue.
He's just emote farming. He's emote farming. It's fine. It's fine.
I expect to see race models, Rob. Don't toy with my heart like that.
He's right though. I mean, that's very like they're right on the cusp, some of them especially. So
Yes,
it would not shock me at
just
all.
because something is slated for early access doesn't mean we're not going to see it before early access. It just means that that's our goal.
Both.
Both. I ask everybody how they say that now. Yeah, I do. I do. Rambo Part 6. Look for information about that tomorrow. They were asking about when supporters and champs will get in next. Druid, it's not going to be there for the start of EA, but will be before launch. Yes, we talked about that. Druid is still going to be a launch class. It's just not in for the beginning of early access. That also applies to Bard. The pets are getting some updates for this next season, right? They get some functionality, doing what they're told.
There have been some fixes to the pet kind of behavior stuff. Yeah, there should be some improvements there. Yeah. Yep.
We cannot replace Bronson with AI because actually I'm not 100% sure that Bronson isn't AI.
It's hard to know sometimes. It's hard to know.
All right. I don't know much about the Unity 6 update. I know that that's going to be a thing. Do you have any information on Unity 6 update, Java?
Not yet. I mean, part of it is just tracking when they're going to finish. The goal for them is to be finished with it sometime towards the end of the year or Q1. So part of it's out of our hands.
Yep. Anything else, guys? Otherwise, I'm gonna let Joppa go back to the dungeon and get some work done. Or
It'll probably
sleep,
be
maybe.
a little bit of what I refer to as starfishing. So if you imagine a starfish that's, flat on the ground with the top point and then the 2 points out to the side and then the 2 points out down there. If you imagine a human being falling flat on their face at like a starfish, that's usually how I describe when I'm feeling very tired, and what that kind of looks like is just starfishing, falling.
Dark Mirror, do they get gender neutral options?
Mm,
Male or female, or is it, how's that gonna work?
I don't. I mean, we certainly aren't accounting for gender neutral options right now. That's probably the only thing I could say of any worth. Um, I'm not sure what we're going to do in that regard. I mean, especially for races like Dark Myr, I think it could fit really well. Um, in fact, we even considered a few avenues for them, especially that were more kind of like just embracing that straight up. Um, but we ultimately ended up where we are right now. So until we get the entirety of the race roster in place, I think considerations like that will come on the other side.
Yeah. For itemization, are we gonna be seeing a lot of new gear for all the classes, gear upgrades? I assume that we're getting itemization for the post 2030 levels.
Mm. Yeah, but keep in mind it's coming alongside a lot of these combat updates and these balance changes, which ultimately is leaning more towards an approach of scarcity more so than the overabundance of itemization that we have now. So you can probably expect, certain items that have already been in circulation to be repurposed to a different level range or maybe even removed completely, to be used elsewhere and just to create a little bit more gaps, less overall itemization to be found, but then also making sure that those items, when they are found, they are acquired, whether it's through adventuring or crafting, that those things are, not as easy to come by, but exciting when you do, and very noticeable. And that also goes for things like Gift of the Five Feathers. That's going to be, as I've already mentioned, much more difficult to come by now.
Yeah, yeah, you guys had some fun with that one, right? Harm touch for Dire Lords. Yes, no, anytime soon.
Not at the start of next season, but I've already, as I've said, they will be getting something equivalent to Harm Touch, very much in that same vein. So you can expect it soon, but not by the start of next season.
This is a good question. How is there going to be the transition on Dark Mirrors? Are they going to do the whole transitioning, and how's that going to work with armor?
Oh, you mean like underwater?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Yeah, we're definitely still going to do that. That's a little bit. That's another one of those down the road things. But the plan is that when they do make that transformation, that the armor wouldn't need to show. So essentially, anything that is waist down would be hidden in that state, and it would just be the tail.
We are not getting more hot bars. We are getting, I saw something in the patch notes. No, I don't remember. I don't have the patch notes up. Sorry, guys.
Release the patch notes.
Yeah, we'll have to, we have to wait until Rob says it's all good. Techniques. Yes, thank you, Neff. Techniques bar.
Yeah, if you haven't noticed or seen, I guess my streams have been the only place we've shown it directly, but we have added an additional bar for specifically for techniques. So techniques aren't going to need to be on the action bar anymore with your action abilities. They'll be on their own section. They'll be in their own bar. So you'll have, your full 8 slots for action abilities. You'll have 4 slots specifically for techniques, and then 6 slots for your utility. They may be talking though about the general bars that we plan to have as well for things like clicky items and other things that you want to put kind of there to use.
Yeah, I know. If you guys want something about the patch notes, just watch Joppa's streams.
Yeah, I mean, it would love to have as many of you who want to come hang out as you want to.
Go there, watch. You get to see what's going on. He shows his development process. It's pretty cool. All right, we do not, as far as I understand, we do not have a specific date in December for early access.
Chair streams.
Is that how you understand it, Joppa?
Sorry, I was distracted by the chair comments. Have you met Chair, Sav?
No.
You've
No. That's a chair, dude.
This is Chair.
Oh.
Have you met Chair?
Hi, Chair. Nice to meet you.
He doesn't say anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everybody needs a really good chair.
Yes. Chair doesn't say anything, but Chair says hi.
I have popped into Joppa's streams. I will be honest and say that I don't have the time to watch everything that he streams. He does a lot, and I ain't got time for that.
All you should have said right there, Sav, is whatever. I can't remember what Bronson said earlier, but whatever Bronson said earlier, that quote, that's all you need to say.
I don't lie to myself. Yeah, I don't lie to myself.
Guys,
that's all
I don't lie to myself.
Yeah, no, sorry. Drag corpse. I don't know. Are we gonna have a drag group members corpse?
Yeah.
Okay. I like.
Well, you'll be able to drag corpses that you're consented to drag. Someone will have to say, they'll have to type, consent Savanya, and then you'd be able to drag that corpse.
That's fun. Dragging corpses is fun. I don't know why. Makes me teehee. Oh, we do have some slash assist updates in the next one, right, Joppa?
We do?
Do we not? Oh, I'm gonna have to bring up the patch notes.
We do. I didn't even know that one.
I could be wrong. Wouldn't be the first time. Maybe Rob knows. I could have sworn I saw something about slash assist. I read things and then I'm like, oh, That sounds cool, but then I don't actually. I'm not a game developer, guys, so I'm just here for the comms.
I see people. I see someone saying they usually teabag after dragging.
Oh,
That's.
that seems rude.
It seems rude.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't.
I
I don't
guess
want to be judgy.
I don't know the context, so I can't say. But you know, I don't know.
I mean, maybe there's a time when it's
It could be part of
appropriate.
the reviving process. I don't know. I'm trying to I'm trying to substantiate it. Uh,
That killed me. The only thing that comes to mind is Joppa. That's not
no,
how mouth to mouth works.
no. let's not let's not let anything come to mind. Let's leave it just as a statement. We'll move on from there.
I don't lie to myself.
I might I might otherwise I might have to let Chair handle the rest of it.
Oh my
Chair handle that one.
God. Okay, so what I had read was the assist command. It allows you to help players' pets. That's what I
Player pet.
read.
Oh, to
Player
assist pets. Okay.
pets to assist pets.
Got it. Gotcha. What I mean, so for people asking about the assist command, oh, is it the slash target? The beginning of all macros. Slash target. But yeah, if we're
Yeah.
gonna have a good assist in, then
Yeah.
we need slash target for sure.
Emotes, not right now. I don't think. That's not, I don't think that that's a super huge priority, but yeah, those would be. Uh, I mean, we should probably get the basic like animations in for the races before we worry about emotes, right?
Yeah, but there should be some emotes coming in with everything going on animation wise. We need a couple of standard emotes for sure.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap this up and let poor Joppa go sleep or whatever. Um, we will be doing a follow up for early access information, but please keep an eye out on Discord, socials, whatever, for some information that's going to be going out tomorrow that anybody with buddy keys might want to know. And as we hear more, get dates and everything, we will definitely share it. All right. Anything you want to close with, Joppa?
No, thanks for coming out, guys. Thanks for all the questions. Excited. Just like a week to go before getting some really good stuff. So, but no, it's cool to get to hang out with everybody twice today. That's been nice. And yeah, I'm gonna go do a little starfishing, I think. We'll see. We'll see if my kids
Yay.
let me do that. I don't know. Sometimes it's an invitation to for them to want to jump on my back. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Sounds fun. All right.
It is fun.
Catch you guys all later.
Thanks all. Adios.